Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 40 of the Salty Dog Podcast.
Let's get salty!
What's up, guys? I'm Clash, he's Dookie. We are your salty captains.
Ahoy there, mateys!
It's the Salty Dog Podcast back again with more Witchwood cards. Exclusively here. You can't get them anywhere else.
we have all the best Witchwood cards.
Believe me, some of these other websites are saying they have the cards. It's fake news.
So, episode 40, man, I feel like we hit a new milestone every 10 weeks or so.
Wow, that's weird. It's like a nice round number every time we do 10 more.
Yeah, wow, what a coincidence.
So anyway, yeah, we have like a ton of the Witchwood cards out now, which is good.
Yeah, some interesting. I feel like more like playable cards have been revealed this time around.
Yeah, it's strange. Like, I don't know why they do this, but it almost feels like every expansion they do start out releasing the ones that they know are bad first.
Yeah,
like, do you feel like that too? Like, I don't know why you would do it that way. To like I'd want to generate like hype and like pre-purchase like drive,
right?
You know, like
to get people. What's the opposite of excited? Unsighted.
Yes, let's go with unsighted. But yeah, I mean, there's been definitely some more interesting things. I still feel like overall I'm not like super blown away yet. Like I'm not piecing together any insane combo pieces at this point. I've really been looking this time. I learned my lesson after Kobolds and Catacombs, at least I hope I did.
Yeah.
I'm really looking for those abusable cards, and I think we've gotten a couple. But anyway, news other than just like the cards, which is going to be the majority of the show, of course. We're going to just go through them all. I think there's 39 cards that we haven't gone over yet, so we're going to hit all those.
All right.
Yeah, so we're going to have to keep them at a pretty decent clip here so we don't go forever. So anyway, yeah, enjoying those free packs. I hope you haven't missed any more.
No, I've been on top of it since my little hiccup there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like that you get a free pack with every quest, because I don't feel bad if I have to do a 40 gold right now. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, whatever, I got a pack. And I think I'm up to 5 Witchwood packs saved up. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
And other than that, I've just really been doing my quests, and that's it, because we're beating a dead horse here, but we're just tired of all the metas right now. Yeah. And so I've just been doing my quests through Tavern Brawl, which is actually kind of a drag too.
Oh God! So let's talk about this Tavern Brawl first of all, okay? Yeah. Because when I saw this, like when it first popped up, and you know, you just get like the vague, you know, chalkboard description of what the brawl's gonna be, and like I saw the drawing, and it was the Raven, and it's like, celebrating the year of the Raven, and like, you know, it was heavily implied that the decks were going to be pre-constructed. And as I'm reading this, it just popped into my head, like I was absolutely certain that what they meant was that the decks were going to have like a couple of Witchwood cards put in them.
That's exactly you, like, what I thought.
Yeah, like that's the way it sounds when you read it. And like I was just like so ready. I was like, oh yeah, like I wonder like what priest cards I'm gonna get to use. I'm definitely gonna play with all 9 classes. Like it's so funny because I had no confirmation of this, but it was just like 100% in my head. This is what the brawl is. And yeah, and I'm just like, you know, happily, you know, queuing up with priest, and then that stupid, like, you know, whatever you want to call it, like aura effect happens at the beginning. Right. It's like when you play a minion, it's going to get a random adaptation, basically. You know, like Wind Fury or Charge.
Yeah,
or Poisonous, or I don't know.
Poisonous.
I can't even remember what they all were. I'm like, really?
It was everything but Taunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, which like, was annoying because there were so many times where I was just like, I didn't even like know all the rules right away, and I lost my first game, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna keep throwing out dudes and hope one of them gets taunt, because I'm getting overrun here, because it's all just RNG. But no, God, I can't even can't even stress how tilting it was. Like every time someone threw out some cheap ass minion and it got poisonous, and they were poisonous was the most tilting one, because it would always just land on some, you know, pissant minion your opponent has, and they could just kill like your good stuff, and you're like, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other amazing feature of this Tavern Brawl is when you throw out a minion that actually has taunt, because you need to like save your life, and it comes out and gets stealth. And
yeah, that's
like,
great.
Cool, 3/8 taunt, stealth.
So, needless to say, I was super disappointed. Like, not only is it a 0-skill RNG fest that you don't even create your own deck for, it's just highly misleading that it's going to be way cooler than it is. Like, how hard would it have been? Like, they don't have to release all the cards that have been revealed and, like, create these insane, like, in-depth decks. Like, honestly, just, like, a simple thing they could have done was just make the Brawl... Every class is either an odd Baku deck or an even Gen Greymane deck. You know, and those are the only new cards. It's either Baku or Gen Greymane, and you just use odd or even cards that are already available in Hearthstone. Just like, give us something. Like, give us something to interact with. It's the week leading into the new set. We've seen them do stuff like this before, like when they added Volcanosaur into the arena pool.
Yes, and you know, giving everybody like Mare and the Fox early. Yeah, like they're not against like, you know, giving you a little teaser for the expansion. And like, like you said, just having Gen and Baku decks, they would have, you know, that's one card, but they would have changed the hero power for the whole game, and they would, you know, they'd be odd even decks, so you'd actually get to see how decks like that flow. And even though there's only one new card, it actually would have changed the way the game was played quite substantially. So yeah, even that, I expected like 3-ish cards, Witchwood cards per deck. That's what I thought it was going to be. And yeah, it's just it's just like it's not even worth talking about anymore.
No, I know, but it's just I just have to, like, this is the salty thing for this episode. Like, I was so disappointed. I was
this week's salty card is the Tavern Brawl.
Yeah, the Tavern Brawl is the salty card, because that's just so incredibly disappointing. Like, we have like, I thought that was their new trend, like giving us something from the expansion early, and I was like, what a perfect way, what a better way to do this than in pre-constructed Tavern Brawl decks. Like, they can allow you to interact with the cards that they want you to see, and like, whatever. You're right, you need to stop. There's a lot of cards.
There's more important things to be salty about.
Like the April 12th release date was confirmed finally. This is generally when we usually see confirmation of the release date, less than 2 weeks away from its actual release. I was hoping, like, there was a little bit of like talk and just speculation going around that it might be the 10th instead, because, you know, the 9th is when the whole free packs and celebration of the Year of the Raven or Mammoth or whatever the fuck it is ends on the 9th, and so it sucks we gotta wait an extra 2 days there, but no big surprise.
It does land on a Thursday, which is the day of our show. So I guess we have to decide if we're going to pull the usual maneuver where we push it to Friday just so we have a day to mess around.
I think that is probably what we will end up doing for next week. So I mean, we'll confirm that on Twitter one way or the other. But this is going to be like something where, you know, I still, you know, have my full-time job. I'm not going to be able to take the day off or anything Thursday or Friday, so I'm going to need like those evenings to like get a little playtime in and actually have anything to say about it. So
yeah,
that'll probably be necessary. But other than that, pretty much like no real news other than let's just take a look at those cards.
Don't forget your free pack quests end April 9th. So empty out that quest log by then.
Yes, yeah, you want to empty your quest log on the 8th, and then you know, do your quest that you get on the 9th as early as possible to avoid missing the last pack that you can get that day, because who knows when they're going to turn it off or whatever, like flip that switch. Then also, and this is kind of like they remind you of this like in the client now, like don't go into the 12th with any quests either, because like we've seen in other expansion releases, they're going to give you expansion release only quests that are going to overwrite your dailies if you still have them. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, clear your logs on the 8th, clear your logs on the 10th if you don't want to miss out on any gold. Or sorry, the 11th. The 11th.
Min-max that shit.
You got to. All right. But I think we're done just wasting time here. Let's go and look at these cards. That's what everyone wants to see, so let's do it.
All right.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
All right, so we're going to start with neutral minions, and then we'll go through the classes in order of alphabet. That's how you say that, right? In order of alphabet?
In order of alphabet,
so,
yes.
All right. Starting off with actually one of the most interesting cards that's been revealed and probably will be one of the most interesting cards of the set, period. It's called Dollmaster Dorian. It's a 5-mana 2/6 legendary neutral minion that says whenever you draw a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. So generally, this
is interesting.
Yeah, this is definitely strikes me as an abusable card in the right class, in the right deck. You know, it's similar in a way to Barnes. You know, getting the 1/1 copies, only you have the potential to get more of them. You can't, you know, do anything as insane as, you know, Barnesing out, you know, Yashraj or something, you know, that's going to be rotating out, but, you know, just for an example.
Yeah.
You have to have something to, like, activate this card, like Death Rattle minions on board that draw cards and try to draw into, like, you know, really insane stuff, or combo this with card draw, which ends up being, you know, more of a high cost combo. But
yeah,
I definitely think, like, this is going to get abused by some deck easily.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I mean, this has combo enabler written all over it. And what first popped into my head, because I'm still traumatized, is Q Block, because they have just a literal draw engine. And, you know, with 7 mana, being able to play this guy, use your hero power. Oh, you drew a Void Lord? Well, now he's out on the field, and he can be cubed, he can be pacted, all that good stuff. So
definitely, I mean,
and just other concoctions that we can't even conceive at this point could have used this. So yeah, I think this is going to see some play somewhere. Yeah,
I definitely think that Q Block is going to start using this, as if they needed any more tools, like in addition to the new crazy Warlock Legendary. But you know, getting Void Lords out is good, but also getting Doom, even 1/1 Doom Guards out is good, because they want to get those cycled into their shuffled into their graveyard, so that they can bring it back with
for the Blood Reaver pool.
Correct. Also, 1/1 copies of Doom Guards could be cubed, and they will come out as 5/7s.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
It fits exactly into the Q Block strategy, which is upsetting, to say the least.
Yeah.
But hey, it's here. Hopefully other decks will be able to abuse it too. Like, I could even see something like a more aggressive type archetype, like a you know, one of those egg type druid decks that tries to abuse those Death Rattle minions, like Devilsaur Egg or whatever, that, you know, give them on-field buffs. Like, we're losing Mark of the Lotus, but there'll still be Savage Roar and Power of the Wild and stuff that could utilize, you know, 1/1 copies of kind of minions with great Death Rattles. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, there's definitely potential. I'd have to give it a safe 3-star, 3 Salt Shaker rating. You know, it could end up being a broken ass 5 in the right deck.
Yeah, I'm actually.
It could end up just not being in a deck, but.
Yeah, I want to give this a 5, so I guess I will. Like, this is going to be on either or both of our salty cards in the future, I guarantee.
Yeah, it's not inherent. That's the thing, is, like, I have to, like, say, like, 3, because it's not, like, inherently, like, in a vacuum you read that and you're like, oh, that's really very situational.
Right.
But yeah, the abuse potential is
so abusable.
Like I wouldn't have said Cabal Lackey is a 5, even though it's like the linchpin of this really fucked up deck.
Yeah.
Because in a vacuum, it is kind of bad.
Right.
But anyway,
yeah.
Next card.
All right, moving on. This actually, I have 3 cards on this one because they're all really similar, and one of them is almost like word for word the card that Dookie created for the card challenge last week. So just starting on the left there, we have Gilnean Royal Guard, which is an 8-mana, 3/8 Divine Shield Rush with, I'm just going to call it the Worgen ability. Whenever I say that, I mean it's attack and health switch every turn, which is just like a wordy thing, but of course we can't keyword it or anything. So, this will start out when you draw it as a 3/8 Divine Shield Rush. The next turn it'll be an 8/3, so on and so forth, continuing to reverse its attack. The Swift Messenger has the Worgen ability to switch its power and toughness and is a 4-mana 2/6 rush. So, generally speaking, I feel like it's pretty bad as a 2/6 rush because, I don't know, I mean, unless you just really need 2 damage to finish something off, it's probably going to be best to use this as 4 mana for 6 damage, like to a minion, basically a fireball, which isn't bad. And then the worst one by far here, Spell Shifter, 2 mana 1/4, spell damage +1 with the Worgen ability, so it could be a 4/1. This is just trusty old Dalaran Mage with the ability to be able to be destroyed by hero powers. So,
yeah, good feature.
Yeah, no, that card is awful. I think probably the one that has the most potential is the Swift Messenger because it can come down as pretty potent removal. Now, you would have to have it in your hand and have it be like swapping at the right time for it to come down on 4 with 6 damage. Yeah. So that
it's not like you get to choose with these. Like that's something you have to keep in mind with these. It's not like you really get to choose. Like you might really need it to be swapped when it's, you know, the wrong turn. Like you need to remove something and it's got the low attack. Yeah. I mean, 6 power or 6 attack on charge essentially. That you're, you know, sending at a minion for 4 mana. I mean, that's a fireball. So
exactly, yeah.
That's solid. And then Gilnean Royal Guard is, oh man, is that a pricey card?
Yeah, 8 mana just makes. That's why I say even though it has the extra survivability, like to do 8 damage and trade and stay alive with the Divine Shield, 8 mana is just so much to pay for that. Like, I don't really see this as better than Charged Devilsaur for the same slot, just because Charged Devilsaur isn't, you know, subject to RNG. Like, you need that 8 damage, and it's a 3/8 that turn, you know? So.
Yeah. I do see both of these as good arena picks, though.
Yeah.
Just solid, like, you know, quasi-removal, but also decent minion sort of picks.
I kind of feel like that's the future for all three. Well, actually, just the 2 cards. The Spell Shifter gets played nowhere by anyone.
Spell Shifter is just terrible.
But
I mean, like, what do you compare this to? Kobold Geomancer, 2 mana, 2/2, spell damage +1.
Dalaran Mage was 2 mana, 1/4, spell damage +1. So.
Oh yeah, that guy,
Dalaran Mage.
Then he's unplayable. So
this guy just.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, just terrible. Spell shitter. Did I already call him that?
You did.
Okay.
So, I just think, like, you know, basically, I don't think any of these 3 will really make it into constructed decks. I think the one that has like the most potential is Swift Messenger. Yeah. And I think there is one other card like that in a certain deck like could make these cards better, but I'll talk about that when we actually get to it. So.
All right, ratings 2, 2, 1.
I agree. Backed that up 100%. All right. Up next, we have Voodoo Doll, which is an epic 3 mana 1/1 minion with battle cry to choose a minion and death rattle destroy that minion. So really good.
When I first saw this, I was like, golly, that's ass. But then I was like, in Mage, this is an assassinate.
Yep, it is at minimum an assassinated mage. I think there are even classes that can abuse it a little bit more. This is a perfect like enabler for Defile effect. I mean, it's a 2-card combo. The thing that makes it really crazy in mage is that it's not a 2-card combo. It's a 5-mana combo with 1 card in your hero power.
5 just straight up assassinate. Yeah.
But Voodoo Doll does like enable pretty crazy defiles. Also, just like whirlwind effects from warrior, like anything where you're just dealing 1 damage easily. This card's actually pretty crazy. I think that it does look a little unassuming at first, but I think in general this is a really strong minion. It gets around Divine Shields, it gets around any amount of power and toughness for priests. Although priests may have a hard time killing this minion on their side of the board, it gives you access to killing minions that have 4 power. So. It's just opening up a lot of options.
I'm trying to think of what priest has that can do Dragonfire Potions out. You could Duskbreaker it.
Spirit Lash, I believe, is still going to be in.
Yes, Spirit Lash will be in.
Spirit Lash would be like kind of the main combo piece for this in priest, but definitely.
Oh, stellar point from Roaming Otaku. This with Frostlich Jaina is disgusting.
Yeah, Mage and Warlock seem to me to be the most the classes that can abuse this the most.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely see the abuse potential, but I can't like guarantee that it's gonna find a place somewhere. So I might have to say like 3 stars. Salt shakers. I don't know why I keep saying stars.
Right.
I might have to say 3 salt shakers on this.
I'm gonna give it 4 salty boys. I feel like it's really going to it's really gonna find a place somewhere. I mean, it's just such a powerful effect. I mean, it is weak to like transforms and silences or whatever, but you could still throw this out even like on 3 if you had to do that. You could, and like it's probably still gonna do what it's supposed to do. You know, I feel like it's pretty situational to like somebody would have the transformer removal and want to use it on a 1/1, so
yeah, I have to compare this to corruption because that's essentially the same thing. You have to wait a turn.
Yeah, it does leave them a chance if you don't have like an immediate reaction, like just pinging it if you're Jaina. Then it is like a corrupt, but it is better than a corrupt because you can combo it and kill it immediately.
Yeah, I think it's definitely better than corrupt, but worst case scenario, it's a corruption.
Yeah.
So
on 3 mana, so that would be worse.
Here's to hoping this doesn't get abused because I feel like that'd be really obnoxious.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be obnoxious. All right, moving on. Here's a card that's not going to be obnoxious. It's called Witch's Cauldron. It's an epic minion, 3 mana 0/4. After a friendly minion dies, add a random shaman spell to your hand. 0 stars.
Yeah, like 0
salt shakers.
What's the 4/2 that when a minion dies, you draw an actual card from your deck that you ban?
Okay, so we're talking about Cult Master.
Cult Master.
Cult Master's better. Also, the 5 mana 5/3 that resurrects a ghoul every time one of your minions dies is better than this. Shaman spells aren't that great. 0/4s aren't that great. This is bad card.
No, this is just bad.
All right, moving on.
Empty salt shaker.
Next, Witchwood Grizzly. This is one of the more interesting cards that I've seen for Witchwood. It's a 5 mana 3/12 beast with taunt, so 3/12 insane stats for 5 mana, but battle cry, lose 1 health for each card in your opponent's hand. So
yeah,
this just like that just makes so much sense because you're gonna want to play this as a defensive card, obviously, with low power, like just insane health and taunt attached to it. This is anti-aggression. Aggro decks empty their hands very quickly.
Yep.
So
this makes aggro very, very sad. This makes me very, very sad.
Yes. So it combos well with decks that are trying to grind you out of resources, and that can pick and choose a great time to play this after you've kind of expended a lot of resources, and it only loses. Even if this thing loses 4 or 5 health when it comes down, it's still a great card. Especially definitely abusable in Priest with heal effects. Just like your upgraded hero power. This is 5 mana, so it could be played in an odd deck.
What taunt minion? Do we have a 5 mana 3 something?
Yes, it would be
the Ancient of Blossoms. Is it?
No, that's 6 mana. It's Fen Creeper. Fen Creeper. Fen Creeper is a 3/6.
Okay, 5 mana 3/6. So if your opponent has 6 cards, you're still playing like a decent minion. Yeah. And that's kind of a lot of cards, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, this thing's literally a beast.
It's nasty. This thing is nasty.
Yeah. This makes me roll sad.
Yeah, this is going to roll some people. It's also like definitely worth noting that there's a few ways that you can get this out without triggering its battle cry. I think the most likely candidate for that is Druid with Oaken Summons, which can recruit something. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's mana cost. Oakheart can do it. Actually.
Master Oakheart.
Yeah, Oakheart can do it though. I was thinking of Oaken Summons, but Oaken Summons does it by the mana cost, which is 4 or less. I was thinking that it was attack, but Oakheart can pull this out as the 3 attack minion. So there are ways to abuse this.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to give it a 4.
Also, Priest, I feel like Priest is going to really love this card. Resurrect effects are great for it, getting around the battle cry. Healing it when it loses the health. I think Priest is really going to enjoy this card a lot. So
yeah, it's a scary one.
Yep. All right.
I'm worried.
Up next, Worgen Abomination. 7 mana, 6/6, epic neutral minion. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all other minions. All damaged minions.
Damaged, yeah.
All other damaged minions. We say that correctly. So, the first thing to compare this to is Bellringer, who's a 7 mana, 6/5 that just deals 2 damage to all other minions every turn, regardless of them being damaged or what. So in a way, it's worse, and in a way, it's better because like you can play around, using a whirlwind effect when your minions won't be damaged, and then playing them out and hoping that they stay undamaged, and then you only get the effect on your opponent's minions. But in general, it's just so similar to Bellringer that I don't know. Like I feel like Warrior is probably the one that's thinking about using this because they already work off of having enemy minions damaged and stuff. So
definitely has Warrior written all over it. But I look at this card and I just can't decide if it's good. Right. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, 7 mana 6/6 isn't good.
Correct.
And I feel like there are just cheaper, more efficient ways to wipe a board than to just try to like damage what you want to damage and then drop this guy. This doesn't seem good to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's possible. I mean, it's hard to imagine the deck that would like consistently be able to use this better than just Bellringer. But I guess it's possible. I mean, there are effects in the game that only damage your opponent's minions. So you can have 2 copies of this. So yeah, exactly. If you really like Bellringer, you can have 3 Bellringers. Right. Hey, there you go. So I put this at a 3. I feel like it's got potential, but I don't think that it's necessary. Like it's definitely going to see play. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with 2 salt shakers on this one. I don't know, just doesn't make sense. I just don't see it. I don't see this finding a home when there are just better ways to do what you're trying to do here. Yeah, I agree. I feel like, in the deck that just like finds some way to finagle damaging only your opponent's minions in some way. We'll see. To be determined. We'll see. We will see. All right, up next, this is going to be a key card in a new Druid archetype. Charity Druid. Ah, yes, Charity Druid. I'll tell the story after. I want to read the card first, but it's called Dusk Fallen Aviana. It's a 5 mana 3/7, and on each player's turn, the first card played costs 0. So, it does say first card. The first time I read this, I thought because of old Aviana that it meant minion, but this is going to include spells and minions and weapons. So anything. First thing you play every turn costs 0. So the main problem with this, other than exactly how we mentioned with the Grizzly, pulling this out of your deck with like Oakheart or some way that's going to make it not trigger. No, not even then. Like, it's not a battle cry. You've already played a card that turn. Yeah, you're always going to have played a card first. Your opponent gets the effect first, and that's why this is shit. Yep, you're just passing too much onto your opponent. It's like millhousing all their spells and minions. Like, yeah, sure, you only get 1, but that doesn't matter. Like, it could be something just devastating. So I thought for a second, like, pulling around in some other way, but that was the card you played. So just like Pine-Sized Summoner, which says the first minion you play every turn costs 1 less, it won't trigger on your turn on that first turn because she was the first minion you played that turn.
Yeah.
So if this actually did say the first minion played costs 0, getting her out in some way with a spell would actually allow you to take advantage of that ability in the same turn. But as it's worded, there's currently no way that you can actually take advantage of it first. So basically,
the fact that your opponent gets the effect first just makes this just a shit tier card.
I love the artwork.
It's very cool.
Yeah, but it's completely unplayable. Like that's just it's insane. Like how like much of a risk you're taking by playing that card.
I know it's like Temperus.
Right, nobody plays Temperus.
Yeah, give your opponent 2 turns and then congrats, now you get to take 2 turns if you're alive.
Yeah, if you're still alive, which is unlikely. So I was looking through Hearthstone the other day, and I was just like looking through the forums and just like posts and stuff, people talking about cards, and I happened to come across this deck list, this like exciting new archetype in the Witchwood, Charity Druid, and it's just every card that Druid has gotten. Like we saw I think we talked about Forest Guide last time, where at the end of each player's turn, they draw an extra card. So like at the end of your turn, each player draws a card, so they get to use the card before you. Dusk Fallen Aviana makes it so they get the discount before you, and just like all the other stuff that gives your opponent things was in the deck. So,
yeah, like Millhouse Mana Storm was in there.
Yeah, and like Hungry Etten and like all those things.
The Hoarding Dragon. My favorite part of the deck though was Gentle Megasaur. Because
Ultrasaur.
Oh,
the 715.
Ultrasaur.
Yeah.
Yes, Ultrasaur. Because no one can resist the kind and gentle smile of the Ultrasaur.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Man.
Just All right, moving on.
Kill him with kindness.
Moving on for Druid, we have the second legendary minion, which is called Splinter Graft. It's an 8-mana 8/8. With Battle Cry to choose a friendly minion and add a 10/10 copy to your hand that costs 10. So it's not like striking me immediately what you could really abuse with this other than charge. But you're still having to pay the 10 mana. But a 10 mana 10/10 charge is very strong. Like if you're able to remove all your opponent's taunt minions or whatever. That's something that you could definitely abuse with this.
There's something here.
I do feel like there's something here. I can't take credit for this. This was something that I believe I read on one of those. I was saying I was going through Hearthstone forums and watching or looking at discussions of how cards could be used, and I happened to see that somebody was saying that you could hit a Corridor Creeper with this. And Corridor Creeper would retain its ability to discount itself every time a minion dies, so you could eventually end up with a cheap or free 10/10. So anything with the ability to discount itself is a great idea. I mean, Giants, not so much, because they're already 8/8s. I mean, unless you just really need another one. Which could be a thing, because, they are pushing this, like, hand-sized Druid thing. So, like, I don't know, getting a 10/10 copy of a Mountain Giant that's going to be really cheap wouldn't be terrible. I'm trying to think of targets, and this is kind of reversed from what you're usually like, what terms usually it's like you're getting a 1/1 copy of something that's cheaper, and then that's how you abuse a card. But this is the opposite, and you're making something humongous, and it's going to cost 10. So you're abusing the body on this card. An effect that you're abusing, unless the effect is to make it cost less or charge. Those are the only effects. Really...
Charge is good, taunt's good, lifesteal's good. I mean, something, I don't know, something with the death rattle that you just want to get again. Really, I actually don't think there's gonna be like a specific target for this. I think this is just like value. Like, what do I have out that I could put in my hand and have it come out as a 10/10? Because you're an 8-mana 8/8 is, I mean, that's fine. You like Ragnaros Lightlord's an 8-mana 8/8, and he just heals you, which, I mean, it's a lot, but as far as a body is concerned, this is just a fine minion. And then essentially you're getting some nice late game power in your hand. So I don't know if there's a specific like abuse target here. It's really just like, it's just giving you more options, just giving you more value.
There might not be a specific abuse
yeah.
target right now, other than, like, you know, what we've mentioned, like giants, like that corridor creeper, or taunt/charge minions. I think charge is probably the more
right.
abusable of the two.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that are going to be like, like you probably run all those in the deck, and then
and then you would pick and choose, or like see what you have available to you when you draw this. But in general, if there isn't something that's like game-winningly great to copy, then this might just not get played in Druid at all, because
Stone Tusk Boar.
Yeah, I mean, there's Stone Tusk Boar. You could put even a better charge minion into the deck, right? This is Charity Druid, so we're running Leroy Jenkins, so because we give them whelps, right?
Oh,
so
that's true.
You can copy your Leroy and
if you could get a. Oh God, there's no Divine Shield charge right now, is there?
No, there's not. There hasn't been Divine Shield charge since the Argent Horse Rider, and that was 3 mana anyway. So, like, we're not talking about a one combo. I mean, not do with Leroy Jenkins either. But
yeah, I think this is just like, oh, I probably have a board because it's late game, and because I built my deck so that I probably have a board, and boom, turn 8, here comes, you know, 10/10 copy or whatever in my hand, and then turn 10, boom, here's my 10/10. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just, that's hard to deal with over and over again.
Right.
Like a big fat minion, you know?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, like, I would give him... Man, this is really hard. I want to... Are we doing halves, or are we not? Like, we need to... We haven't officially talked about
Nah, you gotta commit.
I'm going to give him 3, then.
Okay. I'm going 4 on this guy.
Okay.
This guy really just... Yeah. Really just screams value and flexibility to me.
Flexibility is a good thing, so...
Yeah.
All right. Up next, this is a super interesting card for Druid. It's called Witching Hour, and it is 3 mana to summon a random friendly beast that died this game. So this is Beast Resurrect for Druid, which is super good. I think this is going to be...
bear.
Yep, the bear is a great target for this. They're both they're both even, or odd. They're both odd costs, so you can run this in like a control-y kind of Baku heavy value deck. Resurrecting those beasts, like basically if you just put a few beasts in, like the Grizzly, and I don't know if there's any others that come to mind for me right now, or if we'll see some more, but you know, just having only a handful of targets and then getting them back for 3 mana is going to be pretty insane. So
yeah, and that's kind of the same principle we see in Q Block, where they only run the demons that are abusable with Cube and with Lackey and with Pact.
I don't think this is going to be
Luminari.
quite as abusable as that, but it is similar in a sense. So
I mean, what you're gonna like, your good targets are the bear, and then anything that you can kind of cheat out, and then let it die. Right. Because then you can just obviously resurrect it. So I definitely think there's something here.
I do too. I think Witching Hour, unless like basically there's no beasts that are good enough to use. Like, let's just say that, you know, for some reason the bear doesn't fit in any Druid decks. Like, basically their win conditions don't really utilize the bear or whatever. Then it's definitely going to find a place. I would give this 4 stars. I think this is
I'm thinking 4 salty boys on this one.
Yeah. All right. So now we're moving on to Hunter with a very interesting card that has gotten me thinking like all day, basically, since I saw it. I've just been like thinking of like different constructions for this. It's called Dire Frenzy. It's 4 mana to give a beast only +3/+3. So right off the bat, before I even get to the next ability, it is more restrictive and less powerful than Blessing of Kings. So you can only hit a beast, and it's only +3/+3. But then you shuffle 3 copies of that minion into your deck with the +3/+3 on them. So once again, we're going to bring up our buddy, the Stone Tusk Boar, who's been seeing more play post-2017 than it ever thought it was going to see. It's interesting because obviously, like, the best thing to get additional stats on is always charge minions, because that is the way you win games of Hearthstone, is non-reactionary damage. So I was compiling like a little list of, like, a deck list for how you could abuse this with Stone Tusk Boars. It's also interesting to note that, like, if you don't manage to combo this with your Stone Tusk Boars, if you're a little later in the game, you can combo this off of one of your little hounds that pops off of Unleash the Hounds, and you're getting the same thing. 1 mana, 4/4s with charge. So, you know, Hunter already has ways to cycle through their deck. I mean, not as much card draws as is accessible by other classes, but you have targeted draws with Stitch Tracker. So you can save your Stitch Trackers until you have your 4/4 charges, you know, shuffled into your deck, and then start discovering them out. And you can also start heavily cycling through your deck with tracking to try to find them, and basically piece together a bunch of, you know, 1 mana for 4 damage is pretty freaking good. I mean, as long as there's not a bunch of taunts in your way, which is probably going to be the case because Q-Block's still there. So, basically, I think it just really depends on that, really. Like, I can't see, I mean, I guess putting this on taunt minions or something to give yourself extra protection in like a control hunter could be okay.
Yeah, I mean, really, whatever target you choose isn't going to be bad because you're going to get 3 extremely OP minions shuffled into your deck.
And if it wasn't a control hunter, you could actually target one of your zombies with this and get 3 copies of it if it's like a really good one, which would be awesome too.
Is the Hunter Quest play 1 mana stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're running the boars, and honestly, throwing this on 1 mana minions is probably a solid idea because then you're getting, you know, 1 mana huge stuff.
Right.
So who knows? Quest Hunter?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really see it going that far. But this is even, so like you could fit this. Oh wait, no, you can't run 1-drops in an even in a again.
No,
because I was thinking of trying to go hyper aggression with 1 mana hero power. But then it takes away your ability to use those 1-drops. So,
right. Yeah, it's not an odd even deck, but it's still just a powerful card. Yep. So
it's going to be used a lot if there's a combo that's enabled in a deck that can utilize it, and it's not going to get used at all if there's not. It's a very polarizing card. It's not like one where you're like, I could just throw this in my deck and it'll be good. It's like, no, it has to be in there for a very specific purpose. So, I'm gonna give it 3, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm going for 4 on this one.
I'm not entirely convinced that there's something that's gonna like be opened up by this, but I see the potential. So 3 stars from me. All right, up next, Duskhaven Hunter is a 3 mana 2/5 with stealth and the Worgen ability, so swapping its attack and health in your hand every turn. So either you have a 3 mana 2/5 stealth, or you have a 3 mana 5/2 stealth, and they're both bad. So it's not.
This is just not an interesting card. It's just
it's not a beast. It doesn't help you with really anything, to be perfectly honest. The 3 mana 4/2 stealth that already exists in the game is a beast, and I think that's worth more than +1 attack. And a 2/5 stealth is
unreliability, you know.
So this is just a bad card. I'm wondering if one of those, if like they either just like know that the Worgen ability is a bad one, or if they really think it's good. You have to wonder, like, you know, Blizzard as far as like developers and stuff or whatever, because I feel like they have high hopes for certain things to work really well. Sometimes, like hand buff is a perfect example. And like they put like an entire 3 classes of the game were like riding on these hand buff mechanics when Mean Streets of Gadgetzan came out, and just like totally flopped. So I'm wondering if this is like the hand buff of this set.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why for the card creation challenge, when I was like, you know, make cards with the new Witchwood abilities and swapping attack and health is one of them. Because, you know, we saw a few of those early on, and I was just like, this seems bad. And so the card I made was basically, this is good no matter what. It's attack and health are, you know? That, like, if any of these Worgen ability cards are going to be good, they're going to be good no matter what their attack and health are.
Right. But
that's the only way to do it.
The way they continue to print them is that they're only good if you get them on one specific portion of their transformation, which is usually the Worgen one where they have more attack than health. So just strange. But
it's just really weird.
Like you could pick this up in Arena and it would be like half decent, but not in Constructed.
No.
All right, up next, Rat Trap. It's an interesting new secret for Hunter. It's 2 mana, of course. It's epic, and it says after your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, summon a 6/6 rat. So obviously 2 mana for 6/6, crazy. But playing 3 cards in a turn, not every deck does that. I would venture to say most of them don't.
This is really going to screw over all those priests that are running the legendary weapon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to screw all of them over. All 0.
Yeah, the Dragon Soul priests have really been
the Dragon Soul priests
for a while now. So this is
when I first saw this, I was very scared because I was like 2 mana 6/6. Oh, but yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little before the show, and Rogue's the only class that like reliably does this, and then like some aggro decks are gonna play 3 cards in one turn, but that's not all the time. So
plus I feel like it's pretty easy to play around. Like if you're playing a deck that like a Miracle Rogue or whatever, that you want to play more than 3 cards in a turn, but it would be extremely detrimental for you to put a 6/6 on the board, then you just don't have to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't have to. So, like, if you don't have the answer to the 6/6, and you, like, have tested other secrets, it's pretty easy to test for Hunter Secrets. Like, 3 of them are tested if you attack a minion, Yeah. And so, like, you can just easily deduce that this is Rat Trap, and if you can't deal with the 6/6, then you just don't play 3 cards in turn.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to overextend against Hunter all the time anyway, because they've got Unleash the Hounds and Explosive Trap. So, yeah, I don't know. This really scared me at first, but then I thought about it and I was like, it's not that good. Also, I'd like to point out, okay, this card's called Rat Trap and it summons a giant rat, but the art is of a rat that's going to be trapped.
Yes, I agree.
So that doesn't really make sense.
You know what else doesn't make sense and is also a Hunter Secret? Bear Trap, which is literally a trap for bears, and then you get a bear. So
and then you get a bear.
This is
so
yeah.
I was gonna give it 2 salt shakers, but I'm gonna have to take off half a salt shaker for that art.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll both go 1.5 here, even though we just said we weren't going to do half. So
yeah, well, I mean, bad art's half a salt shaker. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see it unless every deck is like this crazy miracle type deck, and Hunter's just going to be like, I'm breaking the meta, bitches. Like I just don't see it. So, all right, up next for Hunter we have Stalksmonger, which is a 4 mana 2/4 that says whenever you play a 1-cost minion, give it poisonous. This is abusable, I think.
Stone Tusk Boar again.
Yeah, this is abusable. I don't think it's 100% like a definite thing that you're gonna see this used, but I could see it in a Hunter deck that's trying to be very board control-y. It has to be a 1-cost minion, so the new Rush minion that is 2 mana for a 2/1, that won't get it. And you have to play it from your hand, so your dogs won't get it off Unleash the Hounds or anything. But, stuff like... Well, I was going to say Alley Cat, but we're losing Alley Cat.
Honestly,
like, I don't know, maybe this isn't destined to find a home, basically.
Honestly, you run Argent Squire with this.
You run Argent Squire so you can get a 1-mana Basilisk or whatever.
I don't know, man. I think Quest Hunter might be taking shape here.
They might be trying to make it take shape, but I don't know.
I mean, I think cards like this, well, it's a pretty low tempo card.
4 mana 2/4 is pretty bad. It really is. And like you'd have to.
You know what? Yeah.
I feel like this is not good. I really do. So I'm gonna give this a 2, just because like poisonous is a really good ability, and like there's maybe possibly some way that.
But I think there's maybe a little bit of potential somewhere in there, but probably a 2.
Why is it always like the coolest art? Like this Worgen is like the most badass Worgen I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So awesome. But anyway,
it's unfortunate.
I know. All right, up next, hey, this is like the first legitimately really great Hunter card, I think. I mean, other than the 4 mana buff, but it's called Wingblast. It's 4 mana for 4 damage to a minion, But if a minion died this turn, which is a very easy thing in Hearthstone to happen, this costs 1, making it the absolute most efficient like minion removal other than an upgraded Jasper Spellstone, which, you know, requires more setup.
This is a Soulfire without discarding.
Yeah, to a minion only, of course. That's important that you can't put it face, but this is, like, obviously you don't want to use this in an aggressive hunter. I mean, maybe you even do, just, like, blast taunt minions and shit out of the way. But, like, this is a huge thing for, like, spell hunter or, you know, just any kind of mid-rangey or late-game hunter that's trying to pack a lot of removal and get value out of Deathstalker Rexar. Card's really good. 1 mana for 4 damage.
You know, a 1 mana 4 damage removal spell, that says tempo to me. Because I feel like a slower, more control value based deck is more interested in I don't know, like this really at the end of the day is just removal. Like there are other ways to do that, and if you're going late game like a control deck is, you can still, you know, you've got plenty of mana, you have plenty of ways to remove things. So this honestly to me kind of feels like more of a tempo.
Hunter's removal is a little spotty though, which is why I bring that up. But like I compare this card to Stormcrack, which is a card that really never caught on, but it was like attempted in, you know, a little bit more control-y shaman decks. And Stormcrack was 2 mana for 4 damage to a minion, and you overloaded. So I mean, this card, it's so much power packed in there. I think you can honestly use it in like any kind of hunter deck, really. It's just pretty insane.
Yeah. I think this is very solid.
Yeah.
It's like the effect isn't. I mean, it is really just 4 damage to a minion. It's not even as strong as a kill command in terms of power. So I wouldn't like give this like 5 salt shakers just because you're not. It's not game breaking or anything. But you know, a Soulfire without discarding a card is nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter would love it if this could be pointed at face, but it would be super broken. So
yeah, that would be fucked up.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is really solid, and as long as there's a Hunter deck, I think that it could find a way to use this. So I want to give it a 4. I want to give this a 7.
The art's interesting. It's actually the that Emerald Dragon. That got released. Well, it's an Emerald Dragon, but we can assume it's
like Emerus, but it might be.
It doesn't, but that's the only Emerald Dragon Hunter has right now. Right. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But good art, good use of contrast. The image is very balanced.
I do like the image.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of Hearthstone art. It's a slight tangent, but there's a lot of Hearthstone art. I look at it and I realize I've been seeing it the wrong way since day one. Because sometimes the art, like the colors kind of blend together and it's confusing, but like this one uses like contrast and light and dark and like image balance. Like you've got a dragon on one side, you got a wave on the other side. Like there's, I don't know, it's just really good art. Like it doesn't feel empty.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on. It pops. Anyway.
Yes, I like it. It's a good card. It does have good art. I've been impressed with a lot of the Witchwood art so far, which is cool. All right, up next. Okay, so we're moving on to the only mage card today, which is a huge letdown. You have Taki, Time Tinker. She is a 6-mana 5/5 legendary minion with Battlecry to add a random legendary minion from the past to your hand.
From the past.
And what that means is the legendary minions that she gets you have to be wild only. Of course, all standard cards can be used in wild, but this means only legendary minions that can't be used in standard. While there are great legendaries that are wild only, especially the Hall of Fame cards like Sylvanas and Ragnaros, and there's some crazy stuff in there, the majority of legendaries are bad.
Yeah,
this not
it's
good.
Just this seems just pointless to me, because why, like, all this is really doing for you is giving you like a little value. Now it could be, you could end up with a great card, but that's unlikely. You're probably going to end up with, you know, a Nubarok and be like, wow, that's terrible. So you know, there are other ways. Mage has no problem drawing cards, adding cards to their hand.
Right.
And this is just a overcosted minion. There are other ways to do what this is doing, which is increasing value.
Yeah. If this thing was
silly.
5 mana, I would give it a maybe as far as finding a way into a deck. Because honestly, I compare this card directly to at least the Trailblazer, because it's just like decent stats on a minion, and you play it to get a battle cry that gives you value that you can tap into later. Now, while you're drawing that card directly into your hand rather than shuffling it into your deck with Elise gives you so much more value in the long run, and it's so much more consistent because you're getting 5 cards, so some of them are bound to be, you know, usable to you at least.
Sure, yeah.
Whereas you could throw her down on the next turn. Okay, a 5 mana 5/5 when you're trying to play a control deck and not die covers your ass so much better than a 6 mana 5/5. It comes down and it challenges things. I mean, you know, you're happy to play Elise on 5 if you're playing a value-oriented deck like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Having this come down, understated on 6, getting potentially a Patches in your hand, getting potentially a Braza that doesn't activate because you're not playing a Highlander deck, or
Auctioneer Beardo. Well, he's not actually the worst.
Right, you know, just like all of the many terrible things you
yeah.
And like, why did you do that? Why?
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, even if you do like throw her down and get Ragnaros, like, is Ragnaros gonna close out the game for you just because you did that? Like, generally, you probably have a different win condition. It's probably in a deck that's running a value card like this. It's probably Cross Lich Jaina. I mean, you know,
sure.
There's just better ways to do this, and I don't think this is destined for any sort of deck.
I don't think it's like awful. Like, I mean, you know, 6 mana 5/5 draw a card. That's not like bad necessarily. Right. But it's not, you know, it's not a card from your deck, and it's just so random.
Right.
But you know, good memes. 10 out of 10 memes.
Yep, I agree. I was just reading Kuyoya asks a good question. What will this do in 2 years when it too is in wild? That'd be funny. It summons a minion from the past, but she's also in the past. So
I was gonna say summon a minion from the future, but then that's
standard only minions.
Yeah, just standard.
Yeah,
but we can run standard in wild. Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah. Bellringer Century is an interesting one. It's a paladin rare minion, 4 mana for a 3/4. Battlecry and Death Rattle. Put a secret from your deck into the battlefield. So this is like mini Mysterious Challenger and way more balanced.
Yeah, I have, you know, obviously since I play Paladin, I see these cards and I think of the potential ways they could be good, and it probably causes me to overrate them. But I think there's a lot of potential here. You know, you're used to paying 3 mana for a 3/4. So this is 4 mana for a 3/4, but you're getting a secret, which costs 1 mana. And then when he dies, you get another secret, which is great value, which is the Walmart brand of generic things, great value. So this is Walmart Century.
This is Walmart Challenger is what it is.
Yeah, Walmart Challenger. Yeah, this really is great value brand.
Yeah,
Mysterious Challenger.
I don't have much hope for it personally. I see what you're saying, but I just don't think that. I mean, unless we see some kind of crazy secret revealed in the Witchwood or in subsequent sets later, I don't think there's anything worth running secrets in your deck. Is Hydrologist staying in? I cannot remember.
Yeah, he's on Goro, so he's staying in. Yeah.
The Hydrologist is just better than this to me.
Well, let's see. Hydrologist, you're paying 3 mana for a 2/2 and a secret.
Right, but you can throw it down on 2 and use the secret later whenever you want.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think if a really bomb like Avenge caliber secret gets printed, the power level of this card will increase a lot. But I could see running 2 Getaway Kodos and 2 Redemptions and having that be like pretty solid. It's like we were talking about it before the show, and you know, you can throw this guy out. He puts a Getaway Kodo onto the board for you. He dies. he goes back to your hand from your getaway Kodo, and then he puts out a redemption. And then you play him again, and a getaway Kodo comes out, and then he dies again, and then he gets redemptioned.
Right.
So
this is all like if he's the only minion on the board, though. You know, if you can't just like bop a 1/1 dude and kill that and get that getaway Kodo'd or whatever. So
yeah, I just see him as like he's a decent tempo play because you are, you know, you're spending 4 mana and you're getting 4 mana worth of stuff. Right. Right off the bat. Yeah. And then he has the potential to be very hard to get rid of because he can just keep coming back with redemption and getaway Kodo. And if there is like an avenge or something really good like that, in you know, that gets printed, right, that it's just like really worth running.
Yeah, it's just it's also a tough, like we talked about this before, it's a tough mana slot for Paladin. It is. It's definitely not better than Call to Arms. It's probably not better than Blessing of Kings. It's going to be hard to fit it in there. And also, if you're playing a dude Paladin, you also have Light Fuse Stegodon in that slot. If you're playing Murlocs, you have Gentle Megasaur in that slot. So I just feel like those are all better cards, but
the problem with this card is you have to run secrets in Paladin, which generally aren't good. So
I mean, I don't feel like I think they're a little too scared for Mysterious Challenger. Like, I wouldn't be shook if this card was 3 mana. I would just be like, that's a really good card.
If this was 3 mana, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even be Mysterious Challenger level.
No,
insane.
The four mana slot really is a problem because you got your Consecration, you got your True Silver Champion, all the stuff that you mentioned, Kings, Call to Arms, all that. So that could really be what keeps it from performing. I could see this if we get a really good Paladin secret. I could see this being like a 4 Salt Shaker card, but as it is, I'd probably give it a 3. I'm
gonna go with 2 on this one. I don't have a lot of faith in this card. Yeah. So we'll have to see. We'll see who was right when we come back. You are the Paladin player though, so I could be wrong on this one, but going with my gut.
We shall see.
But we both agree on this one. As long as dragons are still a thing, Cathedral Gargoyle, the reincarnation of Shielded Minibot, 2 mana, 2/2, Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. So it's actually better than Shielded Minibot if you have a dragon, because Shielded Minibot was the 2 mana 2/2 with Divine Shield, but this has Taunt tacked on. Yeah. We know how good minions with Divine Shield are with Taunt.
Definitely. I mean, that makes it marginally better than Shielded Minibot, because if you're looking at this from like an aggro perspective, you don't care about the Taunt that much, and this just goes to show you how good Shielded Minibot was.
But I think you're underestimating how good Righteous Protector is in these decks currently by preventing good trades, which this would do the exact same thing.
Yeah, so, definitely.
I think that as long as you can get the Dragon activation, and don't forget about Nightmare Amalgam, the 3 mana 3/4 all tribe.
It's true.
So this could, I mean, if it's doable, you could even try to run this, a little bit of Dragon synergy and a little Murloc synergy, and really try to capitalize off of Nightmare Amalgam being considered a dragon and a Murloc. So
yeah, that's a good point.
But at the very minimum, even if that's a little too ambitious, I think that as long as there's some decent dragon stuff going on that Paladin has access to, it's going to be worth it to try to put that in your deck just to use this, because it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it hinges on there being playable dragons for Paladin. It hinges on that so much.
But Nightmare Amalgam helps that a lot, though. I mean,
it does. So, you know, this could really go anywhere from a 2 to a 4 Salt Shaker, just depending on, because, you know, we saw Nightbane Templar in Karazhan for Paladin, which would have been a great card if Dragon Paladin was an archetype. Yeah, but it just wasn't.
It's sad to see them just so sparingly giving Paladin dragon stuff, because I always wanted, like, you just look at Nightbane Templar and that's just such an amazing card, and I wanted it to work so badly, and it's never all come together at the same time, you know, for Paladin. But we'll see. I mean, there's still a few cards left to be, you know, revealed. Maybe they get Paladins get a sweet dragon, like a class dragon.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm gonna average it out and say 3 salt shakers. I would also like to point out that I really don't like the art of this card.
Yeah, it's super bland. Yeah.
He looks like a gargoyle made of butter.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like they should have either gone with like a really nice like bronze or just like a marble white, you know?
Yeah.
Like why is he?
I don't know.
Why is he like the color of like not yet hardened clay?
Yeah, and also he looks like a griffin. He doesn't really look like a gargoyle.
Yeah, gargoyles are. I guess maybe that's a Warcraft gargoyle. I'm not really sure.
No, Warcraft gargoyles straight. No, you've seen. There's the obsidian gargoyle.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and they have demon faces.
0 stars on flavor and artwork.
Yeah. Anyway,
moving on. Silver Sword has some pretty sweet artwork, but is not a sweet card. It's an 8 mana 3/4. After your hero attacks, give your minions +1/+1. There's not a single thing that this does better than Vine Cleaver. Just straight up.
Yeah.
Vine Cleaver's 1 less mana. Vine Cleaver's a 4/3, which is better stats for a weapon because your damage is front loaded on it. It builds you a board rather than being dependent on having a board, which is something that we all know too well is very easy to happen in Hearthstone. Vine Cleaver is good because it rebuilds your board. Silver Sword is low damage, high mana, and doesn't do anything if you're not already established. So, like, you're just going too all in on like, being like, I'll be okay.
Giving all your minions +1/+1 is obviously, that's aggro wants that. And an 8 mana 3/4 weapon, it just does not find a place in aggro. I mean, this card's very like insanely heavily dependent on if some crazy deck pops up where this magically fits in, but I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, again, like, just anything that's adding stats onto minions, like, you have to somehow be able to abuse that with, like, rush or charge. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. And 1 extra attack on charge minions, like, not enough. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I give this, I'm going to go 1 star on this. I really feel like this has absolutely nowhere that it could fit. Like, if you're considering running a heavy weapon in Paladin, you are going to want to use Vine Cleaver, not this.
Yeah, or Valenier, even.
Yeah, there's just better options. And it's not even good if those other cards weren't options, you know? Like,
right, yeah. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, 8?
Yeah, that's
man.
I mean, what? Woke Lever is 8, and it recruits a minion. Do you have any idea how much better that is giving your minions +1/+1? Like, it's bad.
Once again, it rebuilds your board. Yeah. And gosh, this is
worse than the Rune Spear, you know? Like, Rune Spear gets played over this. It's bad. All right. Up next, the Glass Knight, which is a legendary minion for Paladin. 4 mana, 4/3 with Divine Shield. And whenever you restore health, it gains the Divine Shield again. So, comes out with one which helps the card. Like, if it didn't come out with a Divine Shield, it'd be even worse. But even as it is, the fact that restoration of health on the Paladin's on your opponent's turn is going to currently be impossible for Paladin to do with the rotation of Wickerflame Burnbristle, who would have been the #1 companion to this card and like made something good. Makes me feel like this card is not good, because how is it having the ability to regain its Divine Shields good if you can only do it on your own turn? That makes the trading the exact same as if it didn't have the second ability. It just means it's a 4 mana 4/3, and if your opponent can trade it off in 1 turn, it didn't even gain benefit from being able to regain Divine Shields. It's actually pretty easy to remove. So I feel like that's my take on it. I know you feel a little differently about it.
Yeah, I mean, comparing it to other Divine Shield minions, 4 mana 3/4, or sorry, 4 mana 4/3 Divine Shield is, you know, kind of top of the curve. What's the Silver Moon Guardians of 4 mana 3/3 Divine Shield?
Yeah.
And he doesn't really see play.
No.
So even without the ability, it's like a pretty solid Divine Shield minion. Okay. And I don't think that should be, like, you know, discounted, because I mean, Divine Shield's just a great ability. You're getting 4 attack like a Yeti or something, and then the Divine Shield makes up for the lack of health. But yeah, if you play this on 4 and then he makes it, if he survives to the next turn, I don't think anyone's going to remove a Divine Shield from this thing without killing it also, because they will expect you to be able to refill that Divine Shield. So, I mean, I see this as like, you trade into something, lose the Divine Shield, and then, attack with True Silver Champion, and the Divine Shield's back.
Right.
So it's really going to depend on the tools available to restore health for Paladin, which right now we're not seeing much of, which is why the Spellstone doesn't really see any play.
Right.
So it's really going to depend.
Trying to support that. Like, they're trying to push this, like, Paladin deck that uses little bits of healing and gains, like, value off of that. There's Benevolent Djinn they added, and that doesn't see play. Recently, with how strong Rallying Blade has been, not even True Silver Champion has seen play, but I believe Rallying Blade is leaving.
It is.
Yes, so it makes True Silver Champion a lot more likely to come back in. And with losing certain really, really good cards for the Dude Paladin decks that are really strong now, like, maybe it opens up some room for, trying to use these cards they've been trying to push on them.
Yeah.
Like Restoration of Health and stuff.
Right. The one thing about this card is it doesn't feel legendary to me.
Yeah.
He's not like super big. He doesn't like have a crazy effect on the board. So you're only getting 1 copy of this, like, pretty good Divine Shield minion.
Right, but you used to be able to use 2 copies of Piloted Shredder, which is, for the same mana cost and stats, I think is just the better minion.
Probably, yeah.
So, I don't know, but hey, it always depends on what's available to Paladin and what's available to other classes. Like, maybe this is just good in matchups, like, just because it is. Like, just because of what cards are being played by other classes. It's got 4 attacks, so maybe it's good against Priest. Priest would have a pretty decently hard time removing this without having a very strong board, like, to make those trades into it. So I don't know. It's got potential. So I would give it a 3.
Yeah, I'd also give it a 3. I think it has potential, but it's going to depend a lot on what else gets printed.
Yeah.
And the art is weird.
Yeah, I don't really like this art either. Like, I get that they're trying to go for this, like, geometric, like, he's literally made of some kind of geodes and, like, glass, like, rocks or whatever, but it's just kind of bad art.
It's really cartoony, and he looks like a weird robot. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
He looks like some little, like kid cartoon, like, that you'd, like, walk in and, like, some 8-year-olds watching it, and it's like, Power Rangers. Like,
yeah,
it's just weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like the art on this, and I really like the concept behind this card. This is Chameleos for Priest, a 1-mana 1/1 beast that each turn it's in your hand transforms into a random card that your opponent is holding. So this means this thing can be turned into spells, which makes absolutely no sense, but hey, it can. I want to believe that this card will see play because I think it's so awesome. Like, Dookie and I both like to talk about how much, like, knowledge is power in Hearthstone, and, like, if you can get a glimpse at anything that your opponent is playing, it's helpful, especially if that card's in your opponent's hand. And as long as this sits in your hand, you're getting to read what your opponent has every turn. Like, you don't have to wonder if they have Blood Reaver Gul'dan in their hand, because he might turn into Blood Reaver Gul'dan. I think it's possible that it could find a way. It's just, it doesn't immediately contribute to any sort of win condition is the main problem.
Right. It just kind of sits there as a dead card. But yeah, we've talked so much about how having that intel is so valuable in any card game, and then you basically hold it and learn as much as you can until the point where it becomes something that would be really good to play that turn. And then you will get some kind of value out of it. It won't just be a dead card.
Right. The main problem with it, is like having knowledge or whatever, like knowing what's in your opponent's hand, is like after the Dirty Rat rotation, we currently don't have anything that can disrupt combos from hand. So like you could be like, they have the Blood Reaver cooldown or the Malagos or whatever it is that's like about to kick your ass, and like then you just know that, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like
right.
So I don't know.
Right.
It remains to be seen. I think it's possible, but I think more than likely it's just going to kind of take up a slot in a deck that could be better served pushing you towards your win condition. So
yeah, I agree. And I mean, it is a legendary once again, so you're only going to get the one copy. So it's not like this is going to start in your hand and you're going to be like, oh, I've learned the last five turns, I've learned something you had in your hand. You could just draw this late game and it'll just be a lizard for the first turn, and it won't be able to do anything. And then, your opponent's hand might be empty, or they have 1 or 2 cards, and it doesn't really matter at that point. So now I'm convincing myself that this is probably a 2 Salt Shaker card.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to also go with that, just because, RNG, there's never any sort of definite with this card, like that you're definitely going to be able to get value out of it, or that knowing what's in your opponent's hand is definitely going to help you. Like none of that's true. So I wish we lived in a Hearthstone world where this would see play, but I don't feel like we do.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree.
All right, moving on. We have Holy Water, which is just kind of a hilarious tip of the hat to Holy Fire. And it's 5 mana to deal 4 damage to a minion, and if that kills the minion, you add a copy of it to your hand. I don't think this is that good.
Yeah. When I first read it, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty crazy. It is some pretty good value. But towards the late game, you might not be able to kill a minion with just 4 damage. And if you can, is it really something you want in your hand?
And 5 mana is, at 10 mana crystals, like almost your whole turn. Like, especially if you're playing a priest deck that's trying to get a lot of value. Like, a lot of your cards are going to cost 6 to 8 to 10 mana.
Yeah.
And so, like, Holy Water is going to be that awkward thing where if it doesn't come down on curve and do something really awesome, it's just going to, like, sit in your hand, and you're never going to really want to play it because you're probably not going to be able to kill anything with it. I feel like, honestly, like, if this sees any sort of play, it's to, like, make copies of a card that you are running in your deck and, like, putting it back in your hand. But, like,
I could see that.
But Carnivorous Cube does a better job of doing that. Unless you need, like, the battle cry again or something. I don't know. I just feel like this is not that good.
Yeah, I agree. I think you do take this in Arena, though.
Yeah, in Arena, this is pretty decent.
Because, I mean, that's just value. It's removal of its value.
Having a spell that deals direct damage is, like, almost unheard of, like, to minions. So,
yeah,
that's nice. But in Constructed, it's bleh.
Yeah, that's a 2 Salt Shaker, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Lady in White. This is an interesting one that's causing a lot of controversy over who thinks it's good and who thinks it's bad. It's a 6 mana 5/5 minion with Battle Cry to cast Inner Fire on every minion in your deck. So basically, like, if you're talking about I remember when we were talking about the Switch cards, and I was saying there's maybe a card I think that could make them better if they're destined to be in any kind of deck. They have really low attack and really high health. Those are the kind of minions that you'd want to put in a deck that uses Lady in White, so that they all, even though they switch, it's the state that they're in your deck, which is going to be the low attack, high health, so they would all get buffed to, like, the 3/8 Divine Shield would be an 8/8 Divine Shield Rush, and when it switched Power and Toughness, it would just stay an 8/8 in your hand.
Yeah.
So that would be good. Taunt minions. I think the first minion that came to mind that would benefit a lot from this is Stonehill Defender. A 3 mana 4/4 taunt that discovers another taunt minion. And it's also just not a bad minion to have in a deck to begin with.
Oh no, it's
discover
great
extra copies of statues. I think it's possible that this could be really crazy. I mean, it's in the same way that Keleseth, you know, kind of surprised us all by mass deck buffing actually being quite a good thing.
Yeah.
Some of the best cards to hit with this are rotating out, unfortunately. Like Priest the Feast is one of the big ones that would just love to be hit by this card.
Yeah.
But, you know, Tar Creeper's a really good target for this. Stonehill Defender is. Tortolan Shell Razor is a great one. 4 mana 6/6 taunt.
Oh yeah, that's a monster.
Yeah, you just want to fill a deck really with. Obviously, you just want all your minions to have higher health than they do attack, which is kind of Priest shtick as it is. But
the lower the attack, the lower the mana cost of the minion will be, and the more benefit you're going to get out of this. So
correct. So,
yeah, Tar Creeper would be a monster with this.
Tar Creeper would end up being an 8/5 on your opponent's turn for 3 mana.
When I saw this, I thought of Obsidian Statue and the Coffin. Is he called Coffin Crasher?
Well, Coffin Crasher actually gets nerfed by this.
I realize that, but I think it's worth it to cheat out the 8/8 Obsidian Statue,
right?
Because that's pretty messed up,
right? But the main thing is to keep in mind if you're planning on trying to build a Lady in White deck, which I definitely am, is that you can't go too heavy into trying to just make your entire deck about this card because it's one card and you have no guarantee that you're going to draw it. So you don't want to be drawing all these minions that are super terrible if they didn't get interfired, because they have to be in your deck when they get interfired. You can't like hold them in your hand and wait till you get her later. So the deck has to function just fine without her because she could be the last.
Yeah, it's very true.
Also, I wanted to I was kind of trying to theory craft it out, and I don't think that she will be playable in an even deck because a lot of the cards that you want to hit with this are odd costs. So I'm just always thinking of that, especially with legendaries. Like, could they fit into an even deck or an odd deck if they're odd cost? And I feel like this would just have to be just an on-board type deck that's trying to get value out of, you know, minions that end up being crazy after her, but that are okay on their own. So the Grizzly Bear is a great one, the Witchwood Grizzly. It would end up coming down, regardless of how much health it loses with the battle cry, it would come down with 12 attack, which is pretty insane. So
it's nuts.
Yeah, I think there's potential there. And even if she doesn't see play right away, I think that later, as more and more minions enter into the rotation and stuff, she just gets better and better. Just having different minions
for sure
to get this buff on. So I think there's potential there. As of right now, like, oh man, this is really hard. I'm torn between 3 and 4.
That's kind of where I'm landing with it.
A realistic 3 and an optimistic 4. Like,
I see this ability as just that's never a bad thing.
It's never a bad thing unless you built your deck wrong.
Well, sure.
So, yeah. I mean, a 6 mana 5/5 obviously is not great tempo. It's like kind of the same problem that Taki has, but at least the effect is like actually something that packs a punch and can give you a win condition. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with 4. I'm gonna go with 4, and I'm gonna try to make it work. I'm
thinking 4 on this. It's just I see a lot of potential there.
Yeah, I think that you know, I don't know if we're being overly optimistic about it, but I think some people are being overly pessimistic about it. Like, this is a garbage card, and like I don't think so. Just seeing how much of an effect just +1/+1 has had, you know, on a deck.
Right.
With Keleseth, like this could be insane. So
for sure.
All right, moving on. We have Cheap Shot from Rogue. We're in Rogue cards now. 2 mana to deal 2 damage to a minion, and it has Echo. So this is just kind of a less flexible Forbidden Flame. You're just 1 mana for 1 damage is what you're paying, but you have to pay it in increments of 2. So
yeah, and you don't have to spend all your mana up front to do it.
Yeah, it's particularly better than Forbidden Flame would be for Rogue in the fact that you're casting multiple spells and you want to be playing a bunch of cards and drawing off Auctioneer or whatever you're doing, or enabling your combo cards or whatever. So that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, casting it multiple times is just a good thing for Rogue.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're seeing with these Echo cards I mean, this is a non-comboed eviscerate.
Right.
Yeah, what we're seeing with these Echo cards is they're less powerful than their non-Echo counterparts, but since they're Echo, they have that level of flexibility. But I mean, this doesn't really seem like a game changer to me.
No, but I do think that if there's a Miracle Rogue, they probably want to use this, just because it has Echo, like, especially if Gadgets and Auctioneer is like your draw engine. This is kind of the dream for a Miracle turn, because like, if I drop my Auctioneer, now I have like a guaranteed 2 spells, or if you actually manage to stick an Auctioneer, like, then you just get a whole handful of these and just keep drawing.
You don't have to burn through card. You don't have to just throw a Fan of Knives out there with no targets just because you want to draw off Auctioneer. Like, this is just like, it's one card. Like, you're not wasting, you're not burning through your entire deck trying to make your draw engine work. So yeah, I definitely see it in Miracle, and it's this is just straight up rogue ability from World of Warcraft, so we don't see that a lot these days.
Right, yeah. I love the artwork too. It's an orc just totally manhandling a night elf. You just
hell yeah.
Just fucking punching him in the gut.
Take that bitch out. Oh dude, and it's like a clothy too.
Yeah. Like,
he might as well just drop his pants and
clothies could do nothing to rogues, so. Yeah.
Cheap Shot was the I think that was an opener that was a stun. That's how they would stun lock you. They would start
sap
with
too.
Well, sap would keep you in place, but as soon as you took damage, you were out of sap. Yeah. So they would open with Cheap Shot. The PvP ones, at least, they would open with Cheap Shot and just go bonkers on you.
Yeah, I would be dead in like about 3 seconds as a priest. Yeah. It was bad. Cursed Castaway. 6 mana for a 5/3 pirate with Rush and Death Rattle to draw a combo card from your deck. It's okay, I guess.
Cursed Castaway, 6 mana, 5/3 Rush. That's kind of good. I mean, you probably get to kill something and then you get to draw off of it. So it replaces itself. It's kind of like a 2-for-1.
Right.
So that's neat.
I think it's a little too pricey for what it does. Like, there's no combo cards that, like, I think are absolutely that insane where you'd want to pay 6 mana to draw one. So, meh. I feel like this is probably not that good, especially without, like, a lot of pirate stuff going on right now. Like, the pirate tag is almost kind of useless at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably just doing that for flavor.
For flavor, yeah.
I don't see it as, like, I think it's decent, but I don't see it as, like, fitting anywhere specifically. And the fact that you specifically draw a combo card from it kind of makes me think it won't even be that great necessarily in Arena.
No, it's bad. Because I just feel like this is not a good card in general. Yeah. So
I see, like, a little bit of potential, so I might say 2 Salt Shakers for it.
Yeah, I guess, you can never count Rogue out, so I'm going to go with you on that one. Let's stay at 2.
Fear the Rogue.
I do. I fear rogues now. I'm scared. I'm scared to rate their cards. Yeah. So I'm just going to have to continue to do this because Dollmaster Dorian just totally ate all of my slides, apparently. So, all right, Mistwraith. This is a 4-mana 3/5 rare rogue minion that says whenever you play an Echo card, gain +1/+1. So this is similar to Questing Adventurer, but it only triggers off of certain cards. I mean, Echo is a good card type to synergize with for this. Because you can play multiple copies of it, but I feel like it's not strong enough, especially when Rogue's got a much easier time just playing 0-cost spells and stuff that aren't going to have Echo. I think it just, like, if you were going to try to run a minion that tries to win like that, you would still just use Questing Adventurer.
Yeah, I agree, because you don't want to like spam all your Echo out the turn you do this, because
you
this
couldn't
is Hearthstone,
even do that. So,
and well, you could prep something, but then you just get the one.
Just get the one Echo. Yeah, I really don't feel like this is that good.
No, like there'd have to be a 0 mana Echo card, and that's not going to happen. So
no, because then you could make this in infinite, like, or you could make it as big as your turn.
Yeah,
lasts,
exactly.
So.
Yeah.
No, that's.
So
I don't think Mr. Wraith is going to make it.
Probably 2 Salt Shaker just because it's an okay body in Arena.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 because it's so good in Arena. Like, this card is so good in Arena, if you get any Echo cards, and a 4-mana 3/5 is not bad to begin with, that this could be a reason to play Rogue in Arena. Like, it's really good. All right. Up next, it's Duelmaster Dorian. No, it is Pickpocket, which is 2 mana spell with Echo, and it says add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. So this is basically Burgle with Echo. Burgle was 3 mana to get 2 cards from your opponent's class. You'd have to pay 4 mana to do that with this card. So you would have to like be getting some kind of benefit out of playing multiple cards. I mean, which Rogue definitely does get with combo and Edwin's and such, but I mean, I could potentially see it, but I don't think it's definitely gonna play or anything.
It's the same mana cost as Cheap Shot, and with Cheap Shot, you have to have a target, and you're not always going to, especially after multiple Cheap Shots.
Right. So,
but then again, with a Gadgetzan Auctioneer out, you're gonna be packing your hand so fast with this.
That's true too.
That might not even be a good thing. Maybe neither of them are good.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that might be the case, especially since like it's so weird how they just like print support for cards that are leaving. Like Ethereal Peddler would be such a great card to run with the ability to fill your hand with your opponent's class cards, unless you're playing a mirror match, which is always a problem with Rogue, how Rogue's kit is built to steal from other classes, and then you're just stealing from Rogue.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ethereal Peddler is going to leave, but Ethereal Peddler would be able to discount all those cards you got off Pickpocket, but now it's gone, so why? Like, I don't know. It's weird. They just, like, randomly decide, like, yes, let's give Burgle Rogue some shit again, but, like, it's losing all the other shit, so I don't know. I feel like...
I always found it weird with these add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class cards, so they put the from your opponent's class text in parentheses as if it's, like, obvious.
Right.
Add a random card to your hand. Oh, okay, a random card. You're like, from your opponent's. Like that shouldn't be in parentheses. That should just be like explicitly stated,
I agree.
So whatever.
Whatever indeed.
Well, weird, Blizzard. You're just weird.
I agree. All right, up next we have Spectral Cutlass, which is a 4-mana 2/2 that has a weapon that has lifesteal, and whenever you play a card from another class, so this Burgle Rogue mechanic again, gain +1 durability. This is just so bad.
Hot garbage.
It's unbelievable how bad it is, especially in the face of Kingsbane Rogue.
Kingsbane, you will never run this first of all, Kingsbane Rogue will never run this, and then if you're trying to go lifesteal weapon, that whole deal, Kingsbane's just the better option.
Even if Kingsbane didn't exist, Rogue wouldn't use this card. It's awful. For some reason, they just make these terrible weapons for Rogue. This is similar to Poisoned Blade back in the day when they tried to. It had Inspire to give it +1 durability or something. So rather than like Wicked Knifing, you were like building a better weapon, but it ended up being like an absurd amount of mana to make even the same thing as an Assassin's Blade. And that's the same thing with this. Like gaining +1 durability on a weapon with 2 attack by playing a card from another class, which is enabled by playing cards that get you... No, this is so bad.
I gotta say, I hate bad weapons more than anything.
Right, because there's not that many of them.
There's not that many, and then they're like, whoop, new weapon. Like that Paladin, that silver sword or whatever. It's just like, why? You wasted a perfectly good opportunity to make a cool, interesting Paladin weapon. And you just made shit, and it's gonna be shit for a year. For 2 years, we're gonna have to be like, well, there was that shit. There's literally no reason to use that.
You could be like, oh, well, you don't have to use Leeching Poison to give Kingsbane, lifesteal. You could just play you know, what is it? Deadly poisons on this weapon, and it ends up being infinite too because of the +1 durability. I was like, well, no, it doesn't, because it doesn't have death rattle to shuffle back into your deck. So like one ooze and it's gone. So like,
yeah. I'm seeing we may need to cut this out of the VOD, but Aorcos is saying it's +1 attack, not +1 durability. I don't know if the card got updated. I'm looking into that right now.
That right off of Hearthstone, right before the show started. So I think that's right, but let's see.
Yeah, I'm not seeing +1 attack anywhere.
Yeah, it's I'm looking at Hearthstone top decks just to see what they. Top deck says it's durability as well. Maybe the one that you had seen was.
Aorcos was talking about Poison Blade.
Oh, Poison Blade. Oh, okay, yeah. I got you.
Aorcos, don't put it in all caps if it's not the card we're actually talking about.
All right, anyway, more editing. So, that's Spectral Cutlass. So let me get ready to switch over to Shaman here with Bog Shaper, the Creeper's, you know, younger brother. We have a 7-mana 4/8 elemental, and it says whenever you cast a spell, draw a minion from your deck. So,
wow,
using cheap spells, you could actually abuse this. I think that you can. You know, you want to use as many cheap spells as you can in the deck. Obviously, I think they're kind of trying to say this goes in like a Hagatha deck or whatever, so you can use all those like spells that you're generating off of her to draw the minions. But it's super survivable. The 4 attack helps a lot. The 8 health helps a lot. So you could potentially stick this and have a whole turn of just drawing a shitload of minions from your deck.
I think this is pretty bad.
Do you? I feel like there's some abusable potential there, just like the fact of being able to draw minions. You know, there's even like cards that you wouldn't normally consider running, like Ancestral Healing that's 0 mana, and you know, giving things taunt and
sure, give this guy taunt. Well, I guess you wouldn't want to give this guy taunt, huh? Because he does stuff.
You could even, you know, Ancestral Spirit, like resurrect stuff. You know, this is trying to set up like a game-winning combo, essentially, like trying to draw, you know, Snow Fury Giants out of your deck that are discounted to really cheap because of your overload cards.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say my problem with this card is overload, and you know, if you're trying to spam out all these spells so you can draw minions before this thing inevitably dies, because it's just a flag bearer, you know,
right?
Then you know you got all these minions and you can only play one because you're so overloaded.
I mean, there's also, you know, there's ways to support this card if it does end up being abusable as a combo piece. Like you could even use the Flame Harbinger or whatever that discounts the cost of elementals in your hand. You can make this 5 or less mana by playing that, and open up more you know, mana on the same turn that you play it to get more combo potential out of it.
Yeah,
I can see where you're coming from. It gets a big clunky card, but I think there are ways that it could be abused. So I think that
yeah,
I'm gonna give it. I would, for now, just like without really seeing the combo like plainly, I would say 3. But I just think that it's got the potential to do some game breaking shit.
Yeah, I mean, this could very well be a sleeper agent like the whole Q block package was. But I don't think the pieces are there to necessarily identify that yet.
Right.
And I think on its own it's kind of bad. So I'm going to give it 2 salt shakers and we'll see how wrong I am next year.
Yeah, I'm holding out for the Bog Shaper meta. I feel like he could do something.
Yeah, he's going to shape the meta.
All right, so moving on to Warlock, we have Blood Witch, which is a 4-mana 3/6 that says at the start of your turn, deal a damage to your hero. So that is not like a negative to make up for how good this card is, because a 4-mana 3/6 is just like okay.
That's average.
To the Feast. Like you're playing this because you want to take damage, essentially. And there are a lot of cards that they're introducing that synergize with taking damage and in ways that you would want to not have to pay mana to do so. So I just it's a decent body. It just really depends on like how badly you need to hurt yourself. Honestly,
I'm glad with this card that they recognized that ability is not a drawback and didn't go and make it a 4/5 or sorry, like a 4/6 or you know 3/7 or something stupid. Because clearly this is supposed to synergize with these new cards that are like, if you took damage this turn, then do this. So I'm glad they didn't, because otherwise it would be like an obvious deck to be like, well, I'll run this super OP minion. Oh yeah, it hurts me every turn, so it's got a drawback, but it's not really a drawback
because of all these cards that are making it not a drawback. Yeah, exactly. So let's look at the cards that this could enable, because really on its own it's just bad. But is it good enough to run it with Deathweb Spider, which is a 5-mana 4/6 beast with Battle Cry. If your hero took damage this turn, gain lifesteal. This is pretty much the card to point at for like an argument for Blood Witch, because it curves into this without any additional expenditure of mana to take damage, like tapping or playing, like a Kobold Librarian or whatever. Play Blood Witch on 4, take a damage at the start of your turn, play a 4/6 lifesteal. But at that, it's not even that insane. I mean, the stats are great for a lifesteal minion.
Sure,
so it's potential.
We've said like time and time again that lifesteal is not like one of those game-breaking abilities. It's just like, oh, that's like a nice bonus, but it's not. Yeah, it's not going to make or break the game.
Exactly.
So not enough to justify the hurt yourself package.
I don't think so. Yeah, but it is potentially a scary minion. Like if this whole like suicide warlock, but then not actually suicide because all of their cards synergize with taking damage and then gaining lifesteal, like the amulet or whatever. It could definitely be a scary contender, because that's a pretty decent body to be attached to lifesteal. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I give it a potential, but I think the most abusable card in a Warlock Zoolock archetype would be this next one, which is Duskbat. And Duskbat, if your hero took damage this turn, summons 2 1/1 bats when you play him, and he's already a 3-mana 2/4 beast. If you manage to somehow get him down, like, I don't know, if you're playing Flame Imp into Coin Duskbat on 3, like, that is just insane. Or, a 4-mana Duskbat in conjunction with Librarian or Flame Imp, summoning the 2 1/1s and having the 2/4 body, it's just like, that's some crazy tempo. So
what I want to compare this to is Nightbane Templar.
Right, and Nightbane Templar is a 3-mana 2/3 that summons the whelps if you have a dragon. So the condition's easier because the condition doesn't cost mana. It just says be in your hand. But so this technically doesn't cost 3, generally speaking, unless you have the Blood Witch out or some way to damage yourself for free. But if it's attached, like if you just have to throw out a 1-drop next to this, like you're not too sad about that. So
no, I mean you're loading up your board pretty healthily.
Right.
I mean it's really all just depends if the damage yourself archetype is going to be a thing. But this one definitely is the most like flexible, even if it's not, because it's not hard to hurt yourself necessarily as Warlock, and then this comes down and it's like, oh, look, I have a board.
Yep.
So
I agree.
I'd probably say three salt shakers on this guy.
Yeah, basically they're all 3s really, because it's kind of hard to tell like if it's gonna be good enough. And plus, you're playing Warlock, so why are you playing anything but cube?
Right.
Basically,
yeah.
So.
This is to distract people. This is their answer to the cube block meta, is to distract people that play Warlock from using cube by printing these other cards in a different archetype, despite the fact they have already printed a few more cards that supplement cube block. So
yes,
guess we can all just die.
Yeah, basically, like, never consider an on-board strategy way to heal your opponent because there's going to be 3/9s that summon 1/3s forever.
Yep.
So, I swear to God, Void Lord, more than any other card, is, like, ruining Hearthstone. It really is. But anyway, moving on. We have the Town Crier for Warrior. We're on Warrior now. Town Crier is a 1-mana 1/2 battle cry draw rush minion from your deck. So Warrior finally gets to join the 21st century here, where every class gets to draw a card for 1 mana.
Yeah,
and it's a pretty damn good card to draw, a rush minion.
Sure.
Because at least Warrior is going to have access to a really good rush minion, the one that gives +5 attack and is a 2/5 rush. Or +3 attack, and so when you play it, it's like a 3-mana 5/5 rush or something insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jeweled Macaw, Babbling Book, those are 1/1s that draw you.
Shaman just got 1/2 to get a Shaman spell, the frog. Yeah.
And that's a 0/1 taunt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the fact that this is a 1/2 is interesting. Because you're pretty much, if you built your deck right, you're pretty much guaranteed to get your rush minion.
Yep.
So yeah, this seems very good.
It's really good. It's honestly one of the best, and like I feel like any kind of warrior is going to be able to use this. Kind of like the Kobold Librarian, which is probably, like, I feel like out of the 1-mana draw something cards, those are like the top tier ones. The Librarian and the Town Crier now are pretty much so
yeah.
Drawing drawing into a targeted minion's never a bad thing. So
this is arguably better than Kobold Librarian.
It is arguably better.
You're not taking damage, and 1/2 has more survivability. So
it's really freaking good. It's a good card.
The only reason I wouldn't give this like 5 salt shakers is that it is just a 1/2.
Yeah, I think a solid like 4, like, just because it's like guaranteed to be in some warrior decks, unless warrior's not being played. But that doesn't mean it's a bad card. It just means warrior's a bad class.
Right, exactly. So,
all right,
4 salt shakers.
Up next is an interesting one for warrior. Oh my gosh, what did I do here? Here we go. The Black Howl Gunspire is a 7-mana 3/8 that can't attack, but whenever it takes damage, you deal 3 damage to a random enemy. So, super weird card.
Yeah. Extremely weird.
It's comparable to Rotface, where you obviously just want to keep damaging this over and over again in increments of 1 if possible, to get as much value out of it as you can. It's more abusable, I think, than Rotface, because, if you ever are presented with a clear board or just a couple minions to clean up, then you open yourself up to a lot of face damage if you can keep hitting this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's really hard to say whether it's good enough to run in like a control warrior deck that's running Scourge Lord Garrosh. That's one of the main things that comes to mind, because you get a whirlwind on the hero power that's usable over and over again. It synergizes really well with Warpath, the Echo Whirlwind.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's
it's a hard one to nail down. It didn't register. I saw this card like a few days ago, and it didn't register with me that this is a legendary.
Yeah, isn't it a weird? It's a very weird legendary.
All the legendaries so far feel like non-legendary to me.
Right, like this is like kind of just an upgraded version of Axe Flinger.
Yeah, they're not like impressive. Right. Like this legendary is a building. like I don't know, that's not that cool.
You just build a building in the middle of the battlefield. It's like, all right,
a legendary building.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, this kind of gives me like hey everyone get in here flashbacks.
It's nowhere near as abusable as
but if you're able to deal this thing damage over and over and over and over and over and over again, that's going to be a lot of damage potentially to face, once you wipe everything out. But that seems like a really tough task
Yeah, and I honestly don't even think that in the deck that's going to run Warpath and Scourgelord Garrosh and Whirlwind and all these effects, like, really even gives a shit about this, honestly. Like dealing random incremental damage, 3 damage here and there. I don't think it really helps a win condition overall, but it's possible. I am going to say I think it's possible because, like, there is the potential to really snowball some non-reactionary damage there, which is the key word. Your opponent can't do anything about this once it's down if you can really abuse it. So,
I'm going to go out and just commit to this is shit and say 1 Salt Shaker.
I'm gonna go with 2 because I feel like there's a little bit of potential there. So we could be looking back on this like, God, can you remember when we gave Black Owl 1 and 2 Salt Shakers?
Yeah,
I can feel like that happening. Like I feel like there's some hidden thing in there somewhere. Maybe not in this set. Maybe it'll be something that comes out in the next one. Could
be down the road.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call it potential. All right. Moving on. This one, however, is just right off the bat an amazing warrior card. It's called Deadly Arsenal. It's the Dragon's Breath or whatever, Dragon Fury for warrior. It's 6 mana to reveal a weapon from your deck and deal its attack to all minions. You heavily control what's in your deck. I honestly feel like it's easy to run this alongside of 2 Gore Howls, and you're sitting pretty.
Oh yeah,
because you get a 6 mana 7 damage AoE removal. If warrior gets access to 1 more high attack weapon, it'll be absolutely insane. But right now, all they really have is Gore Howl and then Arcanite Reaper.
Yeah,
but I think you could still like run an Arcanite Reaper in the deck that like wants to use Deadly Arsenal, just so you never want to use the obviously draw both of your Gore Howls before you get your Deadly Arsenals, because then they're dead. I think that's the main thing that you're worried about running this card, is that your deck's never going to be like super full of weapons.
Yeah.
So it ends up being, kind of up to chance, like if you get to use this, just like it is with Dragon's Fury. If you end up getting Dragon's Fury like when you're near the end of your deck in Mage, or hitting one of your lower cost spells like your Ice Block or whatever. So all the same problems, but the same overall high potential for board wipe.
Definitely, that's insane board wipe potential. Yeah. It's more damage than Dragonfire Potion potentially.
For the same amount of mana.
So it just depends on how well it fits somewhere. There's always Brawl the turn before, which has always just been a great card.
Yeah, but Warrior is never sad about just getting more and more and more AoE, especially while we still have Dead Man's Hand, and they're never going to fatigue. So
yeah, totally. Shuffling more of your Gore Howls back in your deck. Actually, now that I'm thinking of Dead Man's Hand, this card even becomes better, because you draw both your Gore Howls, then you just Dead Man's Hand them back into your deck, and Deadly Arsenal is active again. So very true.
So I feel like there's definitely
I see potential.
I'm gonna give this one 4 stars.
I'm gonna go with 3. I'm not totally sold on it, but I definitely see the potential.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be insanely impressive as far as just board control. I think it's this one's gonna be making us sad. I can see this on your salty card list in the future. Yeah,
pretty nasty.
All right, and now let's see. Let's take a look at a card that doesn't synergize with that at all. Woodcutter's Axe, which is a 2 mana 2/2 warrior weapon. And it death rattles to give +2/+1 to a random friendly rush minion. So the rush minion has to be in play. When you break this weapon, it's kind of a bad weapon. 2 mana 2/2 is not good. And the effect is not super great.
It's just so specific, and like that's a good buff, and it doesn't have to be a rush minion that's rushing that turn. It doesn't. It could just be a minion with rush, and it gets +2/+1, and that's really good.
Yeah. I don't see it.
But yeah, timing and deck construction wise, it seems a little underperforming. Although Fiery War Axe is 3 mana for a 3/2 now, so it's just kind of a downgraded version of that.
Yeah, but like the difference between 2 and 3 attack on the weapon is so insane. Like I remember Argent Lance. It was the 2 mana 2/2 that had the potential to be a 2/3, and it didn't even matter if it was a 2/3. This is a little better than that, just because it can buff a minion, which is good. But I feel like this is not a good weapon at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2-star because I feel like it's, I don't know, it's something.
I'm gonna 1-star this one.
All right,
I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna say this is not gonna see the light of day. So
you're probably right, to be perfectly honest.
But we shall see. You know, you can never be 100% certain, and that's it. That's all the cards. We did it. We got to the end. So.
Oh wow! Look at us.
That was a good amount of cards.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Overall impressions so far. And I feel like I said that about Kobolds and Catacombs and was very wrong about it, but I feel like overall the power level is a little low on this.
Yeah.
And there's definitely some abusable stuff, and it's going to combo well with some stuff that's powerful now already. But I don't see a lot of crazy new stuff happening here.
I don't either. And if they're trying to keep power creep from getting out of control, then I do respect that endeavor.
Yeah, but Kobolds and Catacombs blew that out the window. Dude, Kobolds and
sure
Catacombs,
did.
like, it wrecked both metas simultaneously. Like, if you go and play in the wild meta, it's like the same freaking decks, like with a couple changes, which is exactly what they didn't want to have happen with wild. The decks, like you go to wild, you're playing like Spiteful Priests and Big Priest and Q Block and like all of the same stuff that you queue up on ladder now. And
yet they won't do anything about it.
Except buff Molten Giant and give Q Block more tools. So. Yep. Sad. It is. It's really strange to me. But anyway, I think there's a new card available for us to look at right now. So let me see if I can find that. This was released after we started streaming, actually right when I think we took our little break. Breaking news. So let me take a look. All right. Make sure this is set up right here. And here it is. It's Totem Cruncher, which is a 4-mana 2/3 beast with Taunt for Shaman. It says Battlecry, destroy your totems and gain +2/+2 for each totem destroyed. Huh. Interesting. Well, being even cost, this is obviously definitely like geared towards having 1-drop totems and possibly using more cards to synergize with that, like the 2-mana 1/1 that summons another totem and just like trying to spam your board with totems and then slam them all onto the same minion. Yeah, it definitely reminds me of Blood Knight. Yeah, Blood Knight in a way, but also the Draenei, the one that's like, I love totems. Yeah. Or whatever. Totems I love. Totally. Like, when she attacks, she says totally. Oh my god. So, but she didn't destroy all your totems. I don't know. No. I almost feel like this is their answer to like not being able to bloodlust your totems. Like they just sit there with 0 attack and don't do anything. So like, hey, why not just like let this insane devil beaver come and eat them all and get huge? But it is an insane devil beaver. Yeah. It does have taunt, which helps it, but yeah, but no, that does help it. All those stats on the one minion is just like really dangerous in Hearthstone. Like there's Voodoo Doll now, you know. There's Sap. There's Polymorph, Hex, Shadow Word Death. You know, like all this crazy stuff. So I just feel like I do think that in Shaman a lot of the time. You're sitting there hero powering and summoning a totem because you really don't have anything else to do, or you're like too overloaded or whatever, and you end up with like a lot more totems than you know what to do with. And it's, I mean, if you eat several totems, it's still a very overpowered minion. So
no one was sad about Flame Wreath Faceless. Well, no shaman was sad about Flame Wreath Faceless, which was a 4-mana.
This does have potential to be better than a 4-mana 7/7.
4-mana 7/7. So I think there's something here, but it doesn't immediately jump out at me as like overpowered. So I would say like 3 salt shakers.
Basically, yeah, I think it really depends on like how reliably you can get this to at least be a 6/7 when it comes down.
Yeah,
if you can do that like pretty easily in that deck, then it's a pretty big threat and something that you always will have to keep in mind. Like when you queue up against a shaman, it's like, do I have the ability to deal with 4-mana 6/7, or even bigger than that? Up to like an 8/9, which is insane. But I don't know. Basically,
it's hard to know.
So I'm gonna say 3 as well because that's basically like what you say when you're not really sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's cool that we got another one in there on the end. But at this point, I think it's about time for our card challenge.
That's right.
So this is how we'll be wrapping up the show. We do this at the end of every show. If you haven't listened to us before, I'll just run through it really quickly. Every show at the end, we give you a new prompt to create your own Hearthstone card. Where you just follow our rules. Basically, for an example, last week I said make a card that somehow synergizes with using your hero power. Not necessarily like inspire or something like that. It could be, but some way that like for these odd and even type decks that just gives you like more incentive to play them and like get a lot of value out of your hero power. So that was the prompt. The other rules that we have are submit your image as a PNG. The best place to do that is at hearthcards.net. Just create your card there. It pops it out as a PNG. And then you just submit that to us on Twitter. And if your card's going to create other cards, it can only create 2 more cards. So no like Rin type cards where they create like 7 more cards.
Yeah.
It's just that's just mainly for us not to have too many cards to put on one slide and just too much to read. And that's another thing too is try to follow Hearthstone's general guidelines of keeping things simple and not very wordy.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at what we got this week for our hero power challenge. And here we go.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test.
Okay, up first, from Overlord CHS, we got Totem Hexer. He's a 5-mana 5/5 with Battlecry to, I believe it's supposed to say, adapt totems summoned by your hero power. And I'm wondering if that's supposed to be like a permanent effect on like every time. Okay, so
yeah, he specified that. That's for the rest of the game.
So for the rest of the game, every time you summon a totem, it gets to adapt, which is it's like decent until you realize like it almost seems overpowered until you realize like most of the adaptations are only super good like if they already have some attack like poisonous or stuff like that. But I mean, certain ones of them are super crazy, like getting +3 attack. Like 2 mana summon a 3/2 is pretty insane. Even +1/+1. So I don't know. What's your sense? Do you feel like this is a little too strong?
I think it has. It has like a lot of high roll potential. I mean, if you summon the taunt totem and your options are taunt, Wind Fury, and stealth, then it's like, well, that's crap. So, but then again, you could build around and like, use Bloodlust and give your Wind Fury 0 attack totems, +3 attack with Bloodlust.
Right.
So it honestly might be a little too abusable. Heck, I don't know. Maybe it's just balanced.
Maybe it is. I don't know. It is odd cost, so you can't be running this with totems that cost 1, which is definitely good. But that that does also open up the being able to use Bloodlust thing again. So I don't know. It's definitely interesting. Battle cries that give you like permanent effects for the rest of the game are interesting, and that's why I like this one. So
yeah.
All right. Up next, from Mana X, we have Justicar's Squire. Which I think is really awesome flair. Just throwback to Justicar from the Grand Tournament. It's a 2 mana 2/3 with Battlecry. Your next hero power is upgraded. So this is kind of like throwing like the Baku power to Gen Greymane decks, where you play this 2-mana 2/3 and you get a 1-cost upgraded hero power, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, just for the next turn, and you know you're never sad about a 2-mana 2/3. Yeah, I really like this. This is like this feels very Hearthstone. It's simple. It's deceptively simple and insanely fun.
Yeah, I mean, it almost like, if anything, like I think it's pretty balanced, but it almost looks to me like an auto include in a lot of decks. Like a 2-mana 2/3 is decent stats, like you said, and an upgraded hero power is usually really good. So like you're almost like, I'm building a deck. Why don't I just throw this in there? But,
yeah, but yeah, I really like this one flavor wise.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, giving the Gen Greymane deck the Baku ability for a turn is cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one.
Spot on artwork. I don't know if that's just a True Heart, but it looks like it could be.
It could be. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Up next from I'm a Dragon, we have Blood Mage. It's a 3-mana 2/2 with Battle Cry. This is also a permanent Battle Cry. This one effect, give your hero power Lifesteal. So that is a permanent effect for the rest of the game, but the second part of the card is not. Your hero power deals 1 extra damage. That only stays active while Blood Mage is in play.
Yeah.
So you get the permanent effect of Lifesteal, the secondary effect of dealing 1 extra damage while she's on board. I think that is super cool, and it is a rare. It's not an epic, so from everything that we've seen, if you were to play 2 of these, you could actually put 2 separate instances of Lifesteal on the same hero power and trigger it twice based off of how Lifesteal works.
Does it work that way?
I believe so. I believe that's how Kingsbane rogues roll with 2 Leeching Poisons, and then they get 2 activations off of it. I could be wrong, but I think that's right.
That sounds horrible. But yeah, no, I think this is really well designed, because obviously it's an understated minion, but it gives you a little bonus for the rest of the game. Not a big bonus, but you know, it's something. Right. And then you know, if you have to play this out late game, your hero power dealing 1 extra damage. It's an odd cost card, so you've got the upgraded hero power potentially. So you're pinging for 3. Right. You're gaining 3 life. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is really well balanced and makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I like it a lot. It's super cool. And I'm not sure about the Lifesteal thing. I feel like that is something that I had read, but I could be wrong, because I've never personally tested it. So if anybody knows, like, for sure one way or the other, give us a shout out. But moving on to Aorikos, we have Chained Demon. He said that he hates dying early when playing Warlock because of tapping. So this is a 2-mana 0/9 with Stealth that says whenever your hero takes damage from your hero power, this minion takes it instead. So it's like your personal little like demon tank for your blood magic. Bag. Yeah. I mean, if you're, using your hero power a shitload, I mean, this is kind of like 2 mana gain 10 life, or 9 life, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. In general, I mean, there's a lot of demon synergy in Warlock, like giving it plus attack and stuff. So 0/9 is like a super abusable body if you're using like Blood Fury Potion, but that's rotating out, or like Demon Fire or something. So there's some interesting things you can do with it.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, 0/9. That's like an insanely solid body to abuse.
Yeah.
But I think in a lot of cases, Warlock doesn't care about the damage that it's taking from its hero power.
At least right now. Like, it used to be something that you had to worry about if you were going to be a control Warlock. Like, how much can you tap before you're, like, threatening your own life? But now they're just giving them, like, the Spellstone with Lifesteal and, like, all this stuff. Like, the Dark Pact, 8 health for 1 mana. There's just so many ways to, like, make up for all the damage that you're doing yourself already. That, like, in this meta, this doesn't look good. But, like, maybe without all those healing cards, it could be something that you consider.
Definitely a cool idea, having little demon slave.
Yeah. And super cool artwork, too. Wherever you found that. All right. Up next from Electman24, we have Prepare the Ritual, which is like basically open the gates for the meme cards to have all the different totems out. So 3 mana, your hero power costs 0 and can be used 4 times this turn. and then you overload.
Overload 3, yeah.
So basically, for 3 mana, you get to summon all 4 totems, which is 6 mana's worth of hero power, or sorry, 8. What am I thinking? And then you get to possibly combo this if you're on turn 8 or whatever with the 5 mana card that summons Alakir if you have them.
Yeah.
So this is basically just like the meme enabler. And honestly, this is the kind of card that you would need to pull that off.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
which just shows how silly that card was.
Yeah.
And is.
Still is, yeah. I mean, who knows if again, Greymane decks are going to be able to pull it off since they have 1 mana totems, but I still feel like it's probably unlikely. So
yeah. 10 out of 10, good meme.
Good memes. Electman always provides the memes.
That's right.
Then, finally, from Rent's End, we have Warlock Apprentice, which is 4 mana for 3/5. Damage taken by your hero power deals damage to your opponent instead. So, this is actually super nuts. It basically turns your hero power into steady shot and also draw a card.
Yeah.
And the body,
but it's only while he's alive.
I know, but the body is like decent, right? 4 mana 3/5 is okay.
That's decent, yeah.
It's comparable, like in the way that it's like a super high value target. I feel like it should be a legendary, honestly, with how good that ability is. Like, because I compare it to Fandral. Like, Fandral comes out on 4 as a 3/5 and, like, absolutely has to die or he's going to do some crazy shit. Not as abusable as Fandral, because, I mean, 2 damage is, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, turn 6 onward. Well, actually, he's even cost, so turn 5 onward.
Oh, yeah, wow. I didn't even think about abusing with the even cost.
You can start burning your opponent. So
1 mana steady shot and draw a card.
This could be really abusable in an aggro warlock even cost deck if that ends up being a thing. That's a cool idea. I mean, it's a really powerful ability, but it's not like game breaking. And then this guy is pretty removable. So
yeah, but that's the thing though. Something that really triggers me in Hearthstone is when there's a minion that will, what I call, like, 1v1ing you. So the one thing that pops into my mind, it is what just recently ended my 9-win arena run, is Grime Street Enforcer. That's I can't. Is he a 5 mana 4/4 or 6 mana 4/4? I can't remember.
I think it's a 5 mana 4/4.
5 mana sounds right. And he buffs your whole hand +1/+1. And a 5 mana 4/4 is that pretty easily removable, but just like, what if you can't?
Right.
Like then that minion is killing you. Like, that one card is killing you, and it's not even a legendary. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I don't think this is on the level of Grime Street Enforcer or Fandral in terms of, like, can he 1v1 you?
Right.
Because it's just too damage, and eventually you should be able to deal with this guy.
Right, but still, like, the warlock's drawing cards and they're not taking the penalty.
Yeah,
like, steady shotting you. I don't know. It's weird.
Wait, I think it's cool. It's
think it's super cool.
Like,
it is.
They've never attempted
I'm just
anything
scared
like
of
that.
it. Okay, I'm scared of the warlock.
Well, it's not real. The monsters under your bed aren't real.
All right, it's good that one's not real. That would scare me, even if it probably, like, wouldn't end up being as crazy as I thought it would be. But,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Up next from Dookie, we have Blackwalled Arbiter.
All right, so I hadn't made a paladin card in a while, and I wanted to make a paladin card. So this thing is a 4 mana 2/2 charge Divine Shield. When it attacks, refresh your hero power. Also, while it's in play, your Silver Hand recruits have rush. Right. So it's even cost, so you can run this in again Greymane deck. On turn 6, you can hero power, throw this out, attack, hero power again. Any Silver Hand recruits you have on board have rush, so it's just like a real big board swing. And if you have to play it out on turn 4, you know, it's a charged Divine Shield minion, so that's something. I don't know. I wanted to get kind of aggro with it.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it's cool, and we actually had, like, really similar ideas. I like that like the Silverhand Recruits thing having Rush is pretty cool, because this is comboable with, like, you know, the Dry Gulch Jailer ones. Like, if you can play them alongside her if you have, you know, more mana, or even just like her with the hero power is pretty cool. So yeah, I was proud of it. It took me a long time to think of this, so yeah, I was proud of this, and the art's really cool. Yeah, definitely. That's that awesome paladin armor. Yeah. All right, and mine is Inspiring Commander. I had to do a throwback to the Grand Tournament days with the name there. It's a 4-mana 3/5 with Rush, and when this minion attacks, refresh your hero power, which is exactly, you know, what yours did. Yeah. It's even so that, you know, you can get the extra value out of having a cost 1. So, like, on 6 mana, you could actually get 2 hero powers in with this. Yeah, basically a lot of the same reasoning for you, only I jammed all the stats onto the same minion. Yours is like more combo-y with like the rushing recruits, and this one just has the 3 damage and the higher survivability. I like that we had the same idea of it's pretty fun. Refresh your hero power with a rush or charge minion. Yeah. Yep. So, and then you got that Inspire in there. Inspiring Commander. It makes sense. It looks like magic art to me. It is, okay. I've been really getting a lot of magic art recently, because I have like an image in my head of what I want the card to look like, and I try typing in these like keywords, and usually that works for me and like I can find something, but lately it's been awful. Like most of the time, like I type in, I'm like Valiant Knight, and it turns out there's like a mobile game called Valiant Knight, and it's all like fucking pictures of that, or, you know, it's like stupid. So I just type in like Magic the Gathering art Knight, and then like you just find all this awesome art. So that's what I think. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, but yeah, so that's, great minds think alike. So that does it for that card submission challenge. But it's Dookie's turn to give our next prompt, if you have that ready. Yeah, I have an idea. Okay, you got it. All right, so I was feeling extra enthusiastic about our pirate themed show here. Okay, sweet. And now that pirates are kind of donezo, yeah, I think it's time that you all design pirates. Yeah, we have not done that once before. So design a pirate. If you kind of theme it around Witchwood, bonus points. Right. But the only stipulation right now is it's a pirate. Sweet. Pirate? Yeah, make a pirate. Because we're all not sick of pirates yet. We need to bring them back. we just stopped being sick of pirates, so now it just happened. So bring them right back. Right on, right on. So that about does it for our show. We'd be happy if you guys will send us those pirate submissions and support the Salty Dog, the pirate way of life. Yar! You want to let them know where they can find us? Yeah, the best way to submit cards, as we said, is on our Twitter, which is @SaltyDogPodcast, where you should just follow us anyway. And our individual Twitters are @DookieShed, and Clashes is @KLASHE_HS. We stream together on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes. And if you could give us good ratings wherever you listen, be it YouTube or iTunes or wherever, we would very much appreciate it. Absolutely. Also, you know, comments, feedback, just say what up or whatever. Or if you have any questions, we also usually do a Q&A during the show, but this has been an extra long show and we didn't really get that many questions, and they weren't they were just kind of like silly questions today. Yeah. But hey, if you ever have any questions, send those our way. We usually do that. But absolutely. Until next week, when I'm just going to go ahead and say it, we're going to do the show on Friday instead. So we have time to mess with the Witchwood cards. Yeah, come back and we'll be checking out the meta. And till then, stay salty. Stay salty.